Hello, everyone. Happy Christmas, Solstice, Festivus, Saturnalia, Sol Invictus, or whatever else you prefer. I hope you are having a holly jolly adventure this day as we go through Purple Rhymes with Orange's 48-hour mega relay race of a stream. My goodness, it's been a day already, hasn't it? Purple started us off at 5 a.m. Central Time, I believe. It's already gotten a little bit muddled, and we're still going. There's a whole lot of shows still to come. If you aren't aware, there's a playlist of all the shows linked in the description to this video. If you click autoplay on that, it'll just follow along and keep you up to date with whichever stream happens to be on the air. For this show, I'm going to start off with my holiday tradition of doing a little spooky story, the old Victorian style of a ghost story for Christmas. And then I'll do as promised and prove the truth of Jesus. I promise you're going to enjoy that. And then, as the pinned comment suggests, we're going to open up the room and everybody can share their holiday experiences or other thoughts as the case may be. With all that said, if you're new here, please take a second to hit the subscribe button. It helps a lot, and I greatly appreciate it. Now, let's get spooky up in here. It was the middle of November when we arrived at Martingale and found the place anything but romantic or pleasant. The walks were wet and sodden. The trees were leafless. There were no flowers save the few late pink roses blooming in the garden. It had been a wet season, and the place looked miserable. Claire would not ask her dear friend Alice down to keep her company in the winter months as she had intended. And for myself, the Cronsons were still absent in New Norfolk, where they meant to spend Christmas with old Mrs. Cronson, newly recovered from a lingering malady. Altogether, Martingale seemed dreary enough, and the ghost stories we had laughed at while sunshine flooded the room became less unreal when we had nothing but blazing fires and wax candles to dispel the gloom. They became more real also when tenant after tenant left us to seek arrangements elsewhere, none willing to articulate their motive for decamping in the dead of winter. The stories became something else when noises grew frequent in the house, when we ourselves, Claire and I, with our own ears heard the tramp, tramp, the banging and the chattering which had been described to us. My dear viewer, you doubtless are free from superstitious fancies. You poo-poo the existence of ghosts and only wish you could find a haunted house in which to spend a night, which is all very brave and praiseworthy, but wait till you are left in a dreary, desolate old country mansion filled with the most unaccountable sounds, without a single companion, none save an old caretaker who, living at the extremest end of the building, heard nothing of the tramp, tramp, bang, bang, going on at all hours of the night. At first, I imagined the noises were produced by some evil-disposed persons who wished, for purposes of their own, to keep the house uninhabited. But by degrees, Claire and I came to the conclusion the visitation must be supernatural, and Martingale, by consequence, untenantable. Still, being practical people, unlike our predecessors, and not having money to live where and how we liked, we decided to watch and see whether we could trace any human influence in the matter. If not, it was agreed we were to pull down the right wing of the house and the principal staircase. For nights and nights, we sat up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, Claire engaged in needlework and I reading, with a revolver lying on the table beside me. But nothing, neither sound nor appearance, rewarded our vigil. This particularly confirmed my first ideas that the sounds were not supernatural, but just to test the matter, I determined on Christmas Eve, the anniversary of my distant kinsman, Mr. Jeremy Lester's disappearance, to keep watch myself in the red bedchamber where once he dwelt. Even to Claire, I never mentioned my intention. About 10, tired out with our previous vigils, we each retired to rest. Somewhat ostentatiously, perhaps, I noisily shut the door of my room, and when I opened it half an hour afterwards, no mouse could have pursued its way along the corridor with greater silence and caution than myself. Quite in the dark, I sat in the red room. For over an hour, I might as well have been in my grave for anything I could see in the apartment, but at the end of that time, the moon rose and cast strange lights across the floor and upon the wall of the haunted chamber. Hitherto, I kept my watch opposite the window. Now I changed my place to a corner near the door where I was shaded from observation by the heavy hangings of the bed and an antique wardrobe. Still I sat on, but still no sound broke the silence. I was weary with many nights watching, and tired of my solitary vigil, I dropped at last into a slumber from which I was awakened by hearing the door softly opened. "Em," said my sister, almost in a whisper. "Em, are you here?" "Yes, Claire," I answered. "But what are you doing up at this hour?" "Come downstairs," she replied. "They are in the oak parlor." I did not need any explanation as to whom she meant, but crept downstairs after her, warned by an uplifted hand of the necessity for silence and caution. By the open door of the oak parlor, she paused, and we both looked in. There was the room we left in darkness overnight, with a bright wood fire blazing on the hearth, candles on the chimney piece, the small table pulled out from its accustomed corner, and two men seated beside it playing at cribbage. We could see the face of the younger player. It was that of a man about 25, of a man who had lived hard and wickedly, who had wasted his substance and his health, who had been, while in the flesh, Jeremy Lester. It would be difficult for me to say how I knew this, how in a moment I identified the features of the player with those of the man who had been missing for 41 years. 41 years, that very night. He was dressed in the costume of a bygone period. His hair was powdered, and round his wrists there were ruffles of lace. He looked like one who, having come from some great party, had sat down after his return home to play cards with an intimate friend. On his little finger there sparkled a ring. In front of his shirt there gleamed a valuable diamond. There were diamond buckles in his shoes, and according to the fashion of his time, he wore knee breeches and silk stockings, which showed off advantageously the shape of a remarkably good leg and ankle. He sat opposite the door, but never once lifted his eyes to it. His attention seemed concentrated on the cards. For a time, there was utter silence in the room, broken only by the momentous counting of the game. In the doorway we stood, holding our breath, terrified yet fascinated by the scene which was being acted out before us. The ashes dropped on the hearth softly and like snow. We could hear the rustle of the cards as they were dealt out and fell upon the table. We listened to the count, 15-2, 15-4, and so forth. But there were no other words spoken till at length the player, whose face we could not see, exclaimed, "I win! The game is mine!" His opponent took up the cards, sorted them over negligently in his hand, put them close together, and flung the whole pack in his guest's face, exclaiming, "Cheat! Liar! Take that!" There was a bustle and confusion, a flinging over of chairs and fierce gesticulation, and such a noise of passionate voices mingling that we could not hear a sentence which was uttered. All at once, however, Jeremy Lester strode out of the room in so great a hurry that he almost touched us where we stood, out of the room, and tramp, tramp, up the staircase to the red room, whence he descended in a few minutes with a couple of rapiers under his arm. When he re-entered the room, he gave, as it seemed to us, the other man his choice of the weapons, and then he flung open the window, and after ceremoniously giving place for his opponent to pass out first, he walked forth into the night air, Claire and I following. We went through the garden and down a narrow winding walk to a smooth piece of turf, sheltered from the north by a plantation of young fir trees. It was a bright moonlit night by this time, and we could distinctively see Jeremy Lester measuring off the ground. "When you say 3, he said at last to the man whose back was still toward us. They had drawn lots for the ground, and the lot had fallen against Mr. Lester. He stood thus, with the moonbeams falling upon him, and a handsomer fellow I would never desire to behold. 1, began the other. 2. And before our kinsman had the slightest suspicion of his design, he was upon him, his rapier through Jeremy Lester's breast. At the sight of that cowardly treachery, Claire screamed aloud. In a moment the combatants had disappeared, the moon obscured behind a cloud, and we were standing in the shadow of the fir trees, shivering with cold and terror. But we knew at last what had become of the late owner of Martingale, that he had fallen, not in a fair fight, but foully murdered by a false friend. When, late on Christmas morning, I awoke, it was to see a white world, to behold the ground and trees and shrubs all laden and covered with snow. There was snow everywhere, such snow as no person could remember having fallen for 41 years. It was just on such a Christmas as this that Mr. Jeremy disappeared, remarked the old sexton to my sister, who had insisted on dragging me through the snow to church, whereupon Claire fainted away and was carried into the vestry, where I made a full confession to the vicar of all we had beheld the previous night. At first, that worthy individual rather inclined to treat the matter lightly, but when, a fortnight after, the snow melted away and the fir plantation came to be examined, he confessed that there might be more things in heaven and earth than his limited philosophy had dreamed of. In a little clear space, just within the trees, Jeremy Lester's body was found. We knew it by the ring and the diamond buckles and the sparkling breastpin. And Mr. Cronson, who, in his capacity as magistrate, came over to inspect these relics, was visibly perturbed at my narrative. "Pray, Dr. Ember, did you in your dream see the face of the gentleman, your kinsman's opponent?" "No," I answered. "He sat and he stood with his back to us the whole time." "There is nothing more, of course, to be done in the matter," observed Mr. Cronson. "Nothing," I replied, and there the affair would doubtless have terminated, but that a few days afterward, when we were dining at Cronson Park, Claire all of a sudden dropped a glass of water, exclaiming, "Look, Em, there he is!" rose from her seat with a face as white as the tablecloth, pointed to a portrait hanging on the wall. "I saw him for an instant when he turned his head toward the door as Jeremy Lester left it," she explained. "That is he." Of what followed after this identification, I have only the vaguest recollection. Workers rushed hither and thither. Mrs. Cronson dropped off her chair into hysterics. The young ladies gathered round their mamma. Mr. Cronson, trembling as if in a fit, attempted some kind of an explanation, while Claire kept praying to be taken away. I took her, not merely from Cronson Park, but from Martingale. Before we left the latter place, however, I had an interview with Mr. Cronson, who said the portrait Claire had identified was that of his wife's father, the last person who saw Jeremy Lester alive. "He is an old man now," finished Mr. Cronson, "a man of over 80, who has confessed everything to me. Please, won't you bring further sorrow and disgrace upon us by making this matter public?" I promised him I would keep silence, but the story gradually oozed out, and the Cronsons left the country. My sister never returned to Martingale. She married and is living in London. Though I assure her there are no longer strange noises in my house, she will not visit. So, like the old ghost of Jeremy Lester once did, I find myself haunting this place when the cold of winter compels me to remain indoors. But unlike my forebear, I must endure the dark months alone, and in so doing, I've come to discover that while a close companion's treachery may one day bring an early demise, we all must pass from this world. So perhaps the warmth and joy of company to brighten the nights by fireside until then is a wager worth the risk. That was an adaptation. I have the actual, where did it go? Where did it go? I have too many windows open. That is an adaptation of A Strange Christmas Game by Charlotte Riddell. And obviously I changed a few things, including, putting myself in there, so forth like that. I hope you all enjoyed that. I loved how spooky it was and how the action happened on Christmas Eve and so forth. Yes, Uncle Charlie, murdered by atheists. All right, I've seen a bunch of things flash by, so let me catch up here before we move on to the promised prime time of the show and demonstrate the truth of Jesus. Okay, so first, Jester, Lord of Shenaniganery and member for 17 months. I appreciate that, Jester, very much. Says, Hippie Yule log. Hippie Yule log to you, you Lord of Shenaniganery. Jenny Morgan sends $4.99. Thank you so much. And says, Merry Christmas to all my atheist friends. God's neat, let's eat. Maggots are destroying the planet. All of which is objectively correct. Thank you, Jenny. Let's see. Maya Atkinson sends a $2 super sticker, which StreamYard doesn't let me display, but I appreciate nonetheless. I'll take this opportunity to note that the next show in the lineup is over at Maya Atkinson's, a home of normally Bad Science Sunday. And if you're following along on the playlist linked in the description, you'll get redirected. Because my show is still nominally monetized, there's a live redirect in place that will also take you automatically. So you should be good to go. Hopefully. We'll see. Eric Wander, member for 16 months. Damn, that's a lot of months. I appreciate it, Eric, very much. Eric says, Hi, Ember. If you have to rate your year 2024 in a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate it? Happy holidays. I got to give it a 9. Only because a lot of bad shit happened. The election, the destruction of my car. In fact, I managed to blow up 2 cars in the same day. A lot of bad shit happened. But I get to be me now. I am better than Ember. And my transversary is coming up on January 2nd. As a matter of fact, today is day number 300 since I got my legal documents back. And I love the fuck out of that. So as horrible as things have been in the year, it's not all bad. And for me personally, one of the most important events of my life happened in this year. So I can't hate it. I hope you understand. Let's see. L Trucker, member for 12 months, says the plums were all sugared with blow from a whistle. Blah, blah, blah. All that Victorian reading and my tongue is tied. The plums were all sugared with blow from a whistle, a lively scream covered in soot and down of a thistle, light from a phone, midday, luster below. Oh, it's a poem! How lovely! How delightful! I enjoy it, yes. Captivatingly told. I hope that was for L rather than for me, because I flubbed a couple lines. That's why we normally edit actual productions. But hey, live broadcasting, you get the pluses and the minuses both. Robin Webster, member for 13 months. Appreciate the hell out of you. Robin, of course, huge supporter of our community, sent me this book, which I use frequently for all sorts of counter apologetics, as well as some other things. We won't get into that right now, but I appreciate you very much, Robin. Star Song sends $5. Thank you so much. And says, Happy Christmas Eve on this rainy day at my location. Feliz Navidad and any holiday cheer you care to add. Thank you, Star Song. I appreciate that. Isn't it always raining in your part of the country, though? I mean, I suppose maybe rain is better than snow. I don't know. I just work here. All right. One more. My Unfinished Journey sends $6.66. Thank you so much. And says, Hail Nero, Hail Ember, and Hail Transitioning. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I actually I didn't intend to bring up transitioning on this stream, because at 4 a.m. my time tomorrow, the marathon will bring us back around to my second channel, Book of Ember, where I do most of my transition stuff. So I meant to talk about that over there, but hey, it comes up. I mean, I can't avoid being me. So, and I don't really want to, because I fucking love being me now, which is remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. Okay, enough keeping you folks waiting. I wish I could read all the chat, but I will never keep up. And I did promise we were going to demonstrate the truth of Jesus for Christmas. Now, I do have to caveat, I had an ironclad perfect argument, and then the brakes fell off of my car while I was driving, and I had a small panic attack for a few hours, and it fell all out of my head. So the argument I'm presenting is actually my second best, but I'm sure you'll enjoy. Okay, here we go. Today, we're going to do what no apologist or theologian in 2,000 years has ever managed. We're going to demonstrate that Jesus Christ is not only real, but the savior of all humanity. Buckle up. We're going on an adventure. Let's start with a passage from the New Testament of the Christian Bible, 1 John 4, verses 7 and 8. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. It's curious to me that so many professional excusagists start with the presumption of universality in morality or logic or whatever else, but none dare to touch the one characteristic of the human experience that actually is universal: love. We all have the capacity to love. We don't always act from it, but we have the ability. What's more, all of our greatest works are driven by love. Hubble loved the stars and revealed to us a universe of such vastness and wonder that none of us had ever imagined. Pasteur loved learning, the thrill of scientific discovery, and lives free from the needless suffering of disease. And because of those loves, he followed a path that brought forth what previous generations might call miracles. In fact, the only real miracles we've ever seen have all been the direct result of love enacted in the world. The power of God, indeed. Love can change reality. Whether you're creating a new paradigm with the power of your words or giving a homeless person a blanket on a cold winter night, we, the bearers of that divine spark, can alter the world and change the course of history. Love is a fundamental truth. Love is a universally experienced human emotion. It's a driving force in relationships, families, and societies, and everything else we are capable of doing. Love is the only transcendent thing we can all agree exists. It can transcend the limits of the purely physical and emotional. It can be selfless, sacrificial, and enduring. That biblical passage, God is love, provides us the only coherent definition of what divinity means on offer. If we accept that premise, the identity, God is love, in the same way that A equals A, then we can at last evaluate and measure its presence. We can also, for the first time, assert that it dwells in every human heart and actually demonstrate the reality of that claim. So if God is love in the law of identity sort of way, and love gives us all the divine power to alter reality and sometimes manage the only miracles we've ever been able to see and verify, then, as Jesus said in John 10:34, we are all gods. Limited, yes. Mortal, sure. But the things we do leave ripples in time that echo forward into eternity. Our divine capacity for love can and does transcend our earthly manifestations. If love is real, then God is real. But we aren't some weak sauce apologists up in here making an argument that something somewhere in the universe gestures vaguely in the direction of the possibility of a creator being, if we squint hard enough, Those kinds of word games might sell DVDs and books and public speaking events, but we're here to demonstrate Jesus is the Savior. If it is true that what we call love, extrapolated into a capital T truth that goes beyond individuals, a driving force that has a will, but not in a way we'd understand as consciousness, in some ways far above the mundane decision-making process we keep in our skulls, always balancing wants and needs against what we might wish to see in the world and the best wishes for others, that this level of love is almost a platonic form unto itself, then, like God, it cannot exist without us, but it surpasses any one of us, even any group of us. It is essentially the greatest good, though it remains a concept only we can actualize. However, because we mortals have the ability to tap into that, then we can also embody it to some greater or lesser degree. And we do see that in history. Some people, often called holy, though not all called holy fit this description, are better able than average to set aside their own personal interests and channel this trait, this divine spark, to do even greater good in the world, or at least try. Likewise, some people are less able to invoke this power or are unwilling, and these are often the folk we describe as evil through the lens of history. Selfishness, hate, revenge, and all the destructive impulses that are intended to harm, these are the antithesis of the God we're describing. So it is a spectrum, like everything else in this universe. And because it is a spectrum, then it must be true that one human must be the most extreme example of the positive end. One human must be the most loving, the best at teaching and exemplifying compassion, and the one who most entirely grasps that serving this greater divinity that makes us human is worthy of self-sacrifice. The Jesus of the gospel is, from a scholarly perspective, a literary construct. Whether he is entirely fictional or the amalgamation of several real people mixed with various legends doesn't make much difference. It doesn't matter because the story is real. That is to say, the ideas behind the temporal events exist in the same way love exists, concepts in our minds, but no less actual for that fact. If a human were to embody the God we've been describing, becoming an avatar of what we might call a personification of the human capacity to love, then naturally the people in the world greedy for power would oppose that person and seek to destroy them. They become the worst kind of threat, not one that seeks to take power and plunder for themselves, but one who intends to dismantle the structures that allow such harm to happen at all. One who acts out of selflessness, willing to sacrifice for the good of all rather than personal enrichment, is the most dangerous kind of person to anyone who rejects the divine will as we've described it today. And just as there must be one human who is best at embodying the entailments of love's divine spark, so too there must be one human who is most willing to accept self-sacrifice. In real history, we see these people too. Many across time have laid down their lives for the best interests of others, for those they care about, not for love per se, but because of love, which serves this God far better than those who march off to die or to kill, to glorify a name. Jesus represents that divine spark taking human form, or more precisely, a human at the positive end of the spectrum doing what comes naturally and becoming more of that divinity than mortal. Since this spectrum too exists in reality, and Jesus, as the A equals A identity given to the actualized pinnacle of human potential along it, then Jesus is logically entailed to exist. Jesus' life, as depicted in the Gospels, is characterized by acts of compassion, healing, and self-sacrifice. He demonstrated love through serving the marginalized, forgiving his enemies, and ultimately laying down his life for others. If God is love, as we have defined it here, and Jesus exemplified love in his life and teaching, then Jesus also exists in the same way God does, as a tangible representation of the very real but hard to handle abstract concept of love itself. In this, we see love being not a mind itself, can have no ego, no lust for glory or worship or praise. It does not, cannot care if you sing hymns or make offerings to it. It does not care if you follow it or not. It only inspires and drives those of us who can and are willing to be inspired to do what we can for the betterment of all. What's more, the experience of love in our own lives can serve as a bridge to understanding and connection with the divine. Jesus then is that bridge between typical mortal experience and what we might actualize if we act with intention to serve that divine spark within ourselves. Jesus, as they say, is the way. That way to bring more of this divine energy into the world exists. And by following where it leads, by tapping into the spark of godhood within ourselves and bringing more of it forth into the world, by using our godlike powers over reality to change the world, even if it must be one life at a time, that and that alone is what can save us as a people and as a species. Turning aside from this God and this way is to embrace selfishness and greed and spite and jealousy and destruction and become a net negative on the world and the future. And so we return to our passage from John. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. Those of us who act, as Jesus demonstrated, it is actions, not words, that matter. Those of us who act out of love are born of God, born again in the Spirit, you might say. And whoever acts in opposition to love's mandates does not know God. We know this God. We act in a way that serves this God, regardless of the fact that we do not worship it. Those who claim to love God more than their fellow beings cannot know this God because they act for their own glorification, not for good and not for love. The God they claim to love cannot even see them. You cannot love this God any more than you can love love itself. Only serve it. It is the difference between praising the name of Jesus or actually following the path he laid out. One cannot do both at the same time because the first contradicts the second. I'll close with a set of syllogisms if the sermonizing made the demonstration unclear. God is love, not lust or passion or pleasure, but devotion and care and a will to good outcomes, the soul deep appreciation for the wonder of reality, the numinous. That is love. That love is real, and we can experience it, embrace it, and utilize it to change the world. Therefore, God is real, and we can experience it, embrace it, and utilize it to change the world. We can do miracles. Jesus is the connection between God and humanity. This connection is the best and only means by which we can be saved from the consequences of the darker human impulses. So Jesus, this connection, is our Savior. We all embody this connection. We are all real. Therefore, Jesus is real, precisely because he is in each of our hearts and is humanity's best hope for salvation. Through knowing and serving our capacity to love with mindfulness and intention. Merry Christmas, fellow Christs. Now I'll open up the room for the rest of our time together. You're welcome to offer thoughts on this, on the holiday, or whatever else is on your mind. I ask only that you keep a festive spirit and act with goodwill, because we are here to celebrate our community and to care for one another. I'm putting the link in the chat now. While we wait for the room to populate, I'd like to tell you about what we're doing here if perhaps you joined because you follow my channel and haven't heard about this unique relay stream. Every year, Purple Rhymes with Orange coordinates a 48-hour marathon across dozens of channels, each of us hosting for an hour or two, then passing on to the next, so that somebody is always live somewhere in the world, so that no matter what time it is locally, those of us who can't be with family or friends for whatever reason have somewhere to go, a place to be, where we're welcomed and wanted. This show will forward you automatically to the next when the time comes, but not every channel has that ability. So to help you follow along, there is a playlist of all the shows in this marathon linked in the description. I hope you find comfort and joy and stay with us as we chase the sun around the world. All right, now I'm going to pop over to the live chat and replace the pin message. Try to replace the pin message. There we go. Replace pin message. Since we're done with parts 1 and 2 of our plan, I see we're also 3/10 of the way to the goal. I have utilized for the first time ever YouTube's goal feature. I don't know how well it'll work, but I saw Patty and Nancy on Apostate Sisters earlier manage to get 12 super chats of Christmas. So I thought I would try to, go for a goal myself. And maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But I do have something special for you folks if it does. Just saying. Oh, James is here. Your message makes me happy. I told you I knew you would like it, James. James is, for those of you who don't know, the resident theist who's been part of this channel, oh geez, for a long time, since the very early days. I can't remember which video it was that you first showed up on. But yeah, James has been around for a while, argues with me about evolution and cosmology and other sciences, but a very positive person overall, which is one of the reasons he stayed so long. So yeah. Let's see. Carrie Ann says, the awesome sexy Santa outfit is definitely a gift. Thank you so much. I promised I would come with bells on. In fact, I completely forgot to turn my earrings on at the start of the show. I suppose that's for the best, so I wouldn't distract from the spookiness. I forgot to change the background too. I'm just bad at my job up in here. Where did I put the backgrounds? For the Jesus part, I meant to change from the spooky cloud background to the sunrise background. And now for the open part of the show, we'll go to my normal space background. I can only click so many things at a time, you know. Such is life, such is life. Johnny says, resident theist, isn't that the zombies game? That's something else entirely. Quite entire. Okay, I saw a couple of thingies go by. Oh, it was Regios. $5. Thank you so much, Reggie. And says, almost passing out here, but notice something about snake photo shoot. That's right. That's the prize for the goal. Now to I guess explain a little bit. A few months back, a photographer that I know in the local area who does extremely good work. He's a wonderful guy. You may recall I did a boudoir shoot a while back and was crying over the fact that he did such a good job with my photos. He invited me to come do a photo shoot, which I still had to pay for, but it was, limited access kind of thing. And there was a snake. So we did a boudoir photo shoot with a snake. And he was a perfect gentleman. He was very cuddly, but he kept his coils to himself for the most part. And yeah, we did a photo shoot. And the other day, I got the pictures back. And if we hit the goal, we'll take a look at them. So yeah, good times. Jay's here. Hello. Ember looking so fabulous and cheery. I'm trying to be festive and joyful and so forth. And Yeah, we're doing the thing. Absolutely. All right, let's see. I know a bunch of people have come in and wandered past as we went through that whole long thing. Okay, James says, Ember is a Christian. This is not what I've been taught, but I felt the love of God through meditation, and I tell you what, I just feel that you were right. I'm just going to bask in that for a minute. No, I think there really is something to that. Now, Christianity as it stands today has a lot of problems. It's being used as a tool to control people to do harmful things to so many people for political power. But I feel like there is something at the bottom of it. As a universal life minister, for many, many years, I have felt that there was always like a seed of truth, a grain of truth, a parsnip of truth, perhaps, at the bottom of every religion. And I think that's one of the things. It probably wasn't in original Christianity, and the message likely has been lost over time. But there's something in the middle where somebody had an epiphany and it got written down as God is love. But the words just don't translate into the feeling quite so well. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just projecting my own thing onto there. Jester, you could be crazy. And I said gestures at eternity, but I probably said gesture. I'm just bad at speaking English. One does one's best, though. You know, it's all we can do. Ivy Chan says God exists in the mind of the believers, not outside. From a certain point of view, yeah. There's so many messages. I apologize, everybody. I am never gonna catch up on all of these, but I have replaced the pinned link in the chat with the StreamYard link. So if you have something burning you wish to say, then do feel free to pop in and let me know. Share your thoughts on the holiday or just, vibe with us, because that's what these shows are for, is for the community to hang out and enjoy each other's company and be together during this time, which for many of us is a very difficult time. Robin Webster sends a $2 super chat. Thank you so much. And says, I'm driving, but you're awesome. You know what, Robin? You're awesome too. Arguably, we shouldn't get into competitions over who is more awesome. But I dare say, while I do what I can plugging channels throughout our community, trying to bring awareness to people of other channels and what they're doing and build up the community generally, Robin is out here actually helping, like, sending Bibles to counter apologists to use, for example. Stuff like that. Yeah. Atheism is hard. Words are harder, especially when they're in physical form. And this actually, it's a random connection that I'm making here, but words are ideas in our head. But when we translate them into a physical form, they become physically real. These, not just this book, but every book, are concepts actualized into physical, naturalistic reality. I think it's an interesting idea worth pursuing, perhaps. Perhaps on another occasion. I mean, I have burned out my brain cells getting all this stuff ready. I am not going to delve into another philosophical wellspring right now. It's a bit much, so yeah, we do what we can. All right, so let me see. We have a couple of options for what we can do during the remainder of our time, and I will start a poll because people love polls. Let's see. Project ? First thing is we can delve into Reddits. We can go in search of memes and Christmas stories and things to evaluate and so on and so forth. And the other option just fell out of my head, wouldn't you know? Oh, I know what we can do. Actually, I will do that anyway while the poll is tallying. I need a poll for options to present on the poll because it just fell out of my head. I'm trying to run too many things at the same time here. All right, I'll scrap that for the moment. If the other idea occurs to me, then I'll throw it out there. Like Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben, just throwing it out there. Absolutely. All right. So earlier on Patty and Nancy's stream, they were talking about snowiness, snowy winteriness and wonderfulness and so on and so forth. And I sent them some pictures. Well, I sent them one picture out my front door to show what the snow was like today. And then I also sent some additional pictures. And they didn't actually get around to being able to look at them. So I thought I might share those here. And I will bring them up. Okay. So these are photos from my own backlog from days and years and such gone by, but they're very wintry. So this first one, obviously, it's a bubble that's in the process of freezing. I learned how to do frozen bubbles from Don Komrechka, the Canadian world preeminent snowflake photographer. Yeah, snowflake. Don't mind that. He has written a couple of books, and they're amazing. He is really, really good. And so I learned how to do it. This is one of those. And yeah, it's a fun thing you can do if the temperature's low enough. It's a good way, I think, at least as a photographer, to make really, really cold days suck less, because now there's a thing that you can only do on really, really cold days. Here's this. It's not my best work, but I was running through photos really quickly to find stuff for Patty and Nancy. Obviously, snowflake. Actually, it's a double snowflake. You'll notice up on the upper right-ish area, there's a second smaller snowflake kind of freeze bonded to the first one. But that's another fun thing too, because it's really, really hard to shoot something that small, especially to isolate it. I did a whole bunch of these one winter. This one jumped out at me, so I put it in the collection. Next up, oh, this is another thing you can do in winter. It isn't expressly snow related, but this was a boudoir photo shoot I did for a friend some years ago as a Christmas present for her fiance. And while we were setting up, the cat just, yeah, right across the lights. Cat boudoir. Why the hell not? I mean, the internet does exist for cats after all. Cat pictures anyway. This is just a random building. It was an abandoned building, and it just really struck me how stark it was. It was nighttime, so there's street lights and the colors are very washed out, but it was kind of cool, in my opinion, how the whole building was like gray and the snow is gray and the fence is black and that door is bright red. This was before I even had access to Photoshop, so this is like on my phone, but I did, obviously, I desaturated everything but the door and upped the saturation a little bit. This was many, many years ago, but it's still pretty wintry, so I kind of liked it. This is an award-winning photo. Obviously, it's a fox just doing a little nappy nap on the snow. Entered this in a couple of local competitions. I've got the ribbons around here somewhere. I don't know. I'm in the middle of packing because I may have to leave the country in 27 days. So, not everything is readily available to hand. But, I mean, I kind of like it. It looks so cozy, This is a wonder of the world. Obviously, it's wintertime. This is actually a frozen waterfall that has a natural fire inside it, melting part of the waterfall so the water continues to flow. Freaking wild, right? There's literally only one like it in the world. It's called Eternal Flame Falls near Buffalo, New York. And it's a heck of a hike to get to. There are a few places around the world where there are natural flames like this. Natural gas leaking out from between shale layers and such that just keep burning forever. But to my knowledge, this is the only one where that gas leak happens to be inside of a waterfall. And to do it during the winter, to have the ice and the water and the fire and the earth, and I just had to go do it. It sucked as a trip, but I mean, we got it done. And sometimes things are worth doing. This one, strictly speaking, isn't just winter, as you can tell. This was a piece called Seasons. And to pull it off, I took a photo. I think the first photo was actually in the summer, but it happened to be on a bridge outside of Plymouth, Indiana, over the Yellow River. And I marked on the bridge exactly where I set my camera. And then I came back 6 months later and put the camera in exactly the same spot. So I had a summer photo and a winter photo. And it took me another year until I finally had access to Photoshop to actually put them together. So this is a multi-year project. But I thought it was neat. I thought it was worth doing. And so I did it, as one does. This one, this is late winter. Technically, we might call it early spring, but it's before the first day of spring, so it's still winter. And this is a patch of land kind of sort of between where I live and where I work, so I pass it every day. Some days it's foggy, some days it's just, there's variation. But this particular day, it was just the right conditions, the perfectly still water and the perfect density of fog. And it was just before sunrise, so the sun wasn't messing everything. And I had to stop and take the picture. And I'm very glad I did, because I mean, I kind of like it. This one is a lighthouse in Rochester, New York. I mean, obviously it's a lighthouse. This is the Charlotte Genesee Lighthouse, which actually isn't on Lake Ontario. It's a little ways up the river. I'm not quite sure why it's way back there, but I mean, it could well be that they've extended the coast a bit, as we see in many other cities that do a lot of port action. Occasionally, they will lay additional ground to make room for more piers and more harbor stuff. And if they've done that enough times over the years, this is a very old lighthouse, they could have pushed the land far enough away from the lighthouse that it creates the situation we have now. But I thought it was neat. In case it's not obvious, I did add the light because I took this photo during the day, but I still thought it was pretty neat. And this, where was I for this? I think I was passing through West Virginia, but I'm not 100% sure. This is from many, many years and many cameras ago. I was actually looking for just a rolling snowscape. I know I have several in my backlog, but I couldn't find it. But this is definitely a wintry landscape. So I thought I would send that over to Nancy and Patty as well. So yeah, that's all of that stuff. That's what I had set aside anyway for them to share, so to show off and so forth. All right, let's see what's been going on while I had the other window open. Oh, hey, Crystal is way ahead of stuff. Yeah, my photography stuff is for Sparklight Studio, which does have a YouTube channel. And that's it right there. I don't put enough stuff over there anymore, really. I should, but I don't have time. I mean, I'm working 5 jobs, folks. It's really, really rough financially, especially with the car issues that just happened. And I don't even want to think about it because I'm trying to have a holly jolly time. But yeah, so I've had to back burner a few projects to make time for teaching classes and writing freelance stuff and all the other stuff I do, plus my regular job as a truck driver, which comes with very long hours. So, you know, we do what we can. But the website, that YouTube channel is there, and it does have some cool stuff, including some VR experiences that you can look into. You don't need a VR headset. It'll play just fine on your computer or your phone. Though if you do have a VR headset, it'll be even cooler. You can experience the inside of some tombs for Halloween. You can stand next to some waterfalls in the autumn. There's a few other things, including a drive through a rather long Christmas lights display I did 2 years ago. But there's also non-VR stuff on there too. And there's Christmas things as well. I think I showed off last year. There was, you know what? I'm going to open the page. Let's just open the page and I will show you the bloody thing. How about that? We can do that. That's a thing that is within my power, at least for the next little while. So yeah, we can go do that. Let's see. Sparklight Studio. Why is it not bringing up my own thing? That's rude. It's showing me. Okay, I'm just going to show you guys. I have to actually bring the window back up, don't I? It's showing me a channel with 4 subscribers instead of my own page. What the hell? Now, as it happens, this third thing down, this is the solar eclipse virtual reality that Al joined me on stream for, actually, that we did. What was it? April? Something like that. Yeah, that's where the VR for that is. But here is a Christmassy ghost story. I'll turn the.
We had storytellers. They would tell the story like I'm about to. My most famous story.
And on computer, you can scroll around. In a VR headset, you'd look physically, or if you're holding your phone, it acts like a window and you can move. But on your computer, you can scroll like so. And oh nope, don't look over there. That's a pre-transition Ember. We don't like that. But yeah, you can look all the way around. It's pretty neat. So that actor is playing Washington Irving, and he's telling the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which actually originally was a Christmas story. It's pretty cool stuff. Let's see. There was one in particular. That's the holiday lights I mentioned, where you can drive right through, and I've got a song where I've adjusted the speed so that it lasts the length of the drive, and it sounds like angelic. At least I think so. But yeah, in any case, this is the Christmas carols one. And yeah, you could just look around and be part of the crowd. And I mean, I do this for weddings too. It's pretty fun, actually, how you can. Oh shit, what have I done? I've added something to the bottom of my screen that I can't make it go away. What did I do? How did that get there? Oh no. All right, I'm going to shrink this down. Okay, I think I've got my screen back in working order. My goodness. That was wild. Oh well. Okay, let's see. Right, so that was Crystal's commenting about Sparklight Studio. There's a bunch of stuff over there. I don't know which photo you're talking about, Anarchic, but I'm glad you like the photo. You know, I guess when I'm in a window, I can't see which chats come in with which things, but you know, we do what we can. But if you want to come on and tell me which one you're talking about, the link to join this particular show is pinned at the top of the YouTube live chat. If you're watching this later, however, folks, hello, future people. Do remember to like, subscribe, share, ring the bell, because you never know when I'm going to go live. This one was scheduled, but sometimes I do random lives. And leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite part of this show was. Because, you know, feedback always helps. We're trying to do our best, but knowing what works, what doesn't, what's nifty, it's really handy. And I appreciate it. Let's see. Where are we here? Ember still wants our DNA. Yes, that's another project I have to back burner because of finances. The fundraising has not gone well. It hasn't really moved in a while. And also because I'm working all the time with other things. For anybody who doesn't know what Johnny's talking about, As you may be aware, sometime back, I got my legal papers back from the court for my transition. Legally transition. Cool beans. And I'm going through, I'm updating DMV, I'm updating New York State, and I update the Social Security office. And I get to the Social Security office. And the worker there says, oh, okay, we have updated your name in our records. Cool beans. We cannot, however, update your gender marker because you were assigned female at birth. And that entry has never been changed. Oh, well, what a mystery. What a peculiar state of affairs. And so I started to investigate. I started to figure out what the heck was up with this. Now, my mother wouldn't tell me anything about it, but I remembered some strange things from when I was younger. For example, when I was in 6th grade, I had to have a vision test because I was extremely farsighted, but they had to test my vision anyway in order to determine how farsighted and what issues there might be, what corrective lenses I might need. And as part of the process, they went through to determine if I might be colorblind. Well, actually quite the opposite. It turns out I'm a tetrachromat. And that happens when the specific genes that determine the rods and cones in your eyeballs. I believe it's the cones. I'm not an optician, so it's not my specialty. But the cones that receive wavelengths, they're coded onto your chromosomes. And the one for the green, the middle, red is over here, blue is over here. If you ever wonder if when you see red and someone else sees red, you both call it red, are you seeing the same thing? You are not. I found this out. The wavelength you receive and how your brain processes it is slightly different from person to person. It's close enough. We can compare notes. We can talk about it, but that's what causes color blindness is when the green is too close to one or the other and the brain can't tell the difference. It's pretty fucking neat. Well, when you have an X chromosome with one type of green cone and an X chromosome with a different green cone, you end up with 4 different color receptors. But Ember, you must be thinking, doesn't that require a person to have 2 X chromosomes? Why, yes. Yes, it does. And so I came to find out from memories like this and other things that there was reason to suspect my genetics might not be what I was led to believe. So I sent away for karyotype test. In fact, I sent away for 2 karyotype tests because I had a sneaking suspicion. And as it turns out, I was correct. You see, geneticists speculate. There's a certain thing that happens. You're familiar with twinning, when a single embryo splits into 2 and it grows into 2 babies or 3 or 4 or whatever. The opposite process happens where 2 embryos fuse and create a single baby. And that's called chimerism. And geneticists estimate that that happens in as many as 10% of births. They have to estimate because we don't know, because we don't take karyotypes regularly. And even when we do a karyotype test, we don't normally do more than 1 in different parts of the body. If you do a karyotype from, say, a cheek swab, you'll get whatever the genes are in your cheek, but not necessarily the rest of your body if you're one of the 10% who has multiple genotypes scattered throughout your body. So I did too. And they came back different. So that's interesting. So I wanted to take me as a proof of concept and do a little genetics research project. I want to have 10 volunteers who are transgender and 10 volunteers who are cisgender and do the same thing. Do 2 karyotype tests, upper body and lower body, and see if we can determine if that assumed rate, that estimated rate, that 10% is correct for the general population represented by the cis people, and see if it's maybe a little higher than 10% in the trans people. because I have a suspicion that I might not be the only one. I might not be the only person who actually does have an intersex condition that I discovered as part of transitioning. It may well be we're all intersex. And it's not just the genetic chimerism kind. There's other stuff besides that. Joanne Roughgarden published a book, Evolution's Rainbow, that discusses a whole bunch of characteristics that are very anomalous in transgender people that very strongly hint at an intersex type situation. Robert Sapolsky, his neurology, goes into the same thing. Study after study showing that a transgender person's brain is structurally different from a cis person's brain in ways that are indicative of the gender they want to transition to, even before hormones. There's multiple lines of research all pointing in this direction, that we're a misidentified flavor of intersex because the psychologists, or specifically the sexologists, wanted to put their nose into our business round about the 1960s. They decided we're weird, we're deranged, or whatever the hell. They decided there's something wrong with us, and so they pathologized us instead of allowing normal medical research to proceed forward as it did with every other kind of atypical human. Well, the science is catching up, and I want to do a research project on it. And the thing is, even if I'm wrong, and maybe I am, that's fine. We'll still learn something. At the very least, we will have a real baseline for how frequent chimerism is, because we don't have that right now. It's wild how far behind this science is. But yeah, that's what Johnny is referencing. On my website, betterthanember.com, there is a link for the labeled genetic research. That's in the support section. There, I have a Ko-Fi, I have a Patreon, I have a Venmo, and there's this. If you click on that, it'll open a GoFundMe page. And on that page, there will be a more well-written out description of what I'm trying to do and how and why. And also a link to an interview I did with Michael Beverly that better goes into some of the details and minutia. But that's the TLDR. And that's what Johnny is asking about. I would still like to do it, but I need time and I need funding because karyotypes are not cheap. But if all that sounds interesting to you and you want to help for science, that's one way to do it. And now you know a bit more of my story that I don't think I've ever gotten a chance to say on this channel. So, hooray! There's that. All right, let's see. Yes, reminder, the marathon, the playlist, linked in the description, but PC's dropping it here and there and everywhere. I've been dropping it in other streams. Keep an eye on the playlist. Once again, this channel will forward you on automatically, but not every channel can do that. The playlist will make sure you get to go from show to show to show and keep up. Johnny says there's no pre-transition Ember, only your brother dead name. Sadly, that doesn't quite work in my case because I went by Ember when I was still presenting non-binary as well and was much larger and much less happy. The reason I chose the name Ember was because I went through a very bad burnout, and it was an act of faith as much as anything else that there might still be a spark somewhere, that if I just believed in myself, I might be able to get that flame going again. I was more right than I had any idea, but it really was just faith at that point. So yeah. Mark Agamotto1313 Smith says, instead of Dapper is a professional, Ember is a professional. I mean, I'm not as professional as Dapper, but on the other hand, I'm not drinking during my stream. I should be drinking. It's a holiday and I'm not drinking. Why is that? Yes, the link to join is pinned. So do feel free to come in and tell me that I guess I'm not doing astrology often enough. What do you mean, Maya? Oh, astronomy. I mean, we can do that. We can definitely do that. Let me try to catch up on the chat here, and we'll see if we can find some space news. If I mean, we could go do the Reddits thing, or we could do the space thing. Either way. Cones are color. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, one of those. One of those. Carrie Ann says, totally cool nerd chick with a mutant superpower. Keep telling y'all that Ember's a goddess. Oh, Jason, hello. Happy holidays. Thank you. Let's see. Chimerism is also awesome. It is. It's weird. It's trippy. It isn't necessarily. It's like I said, it's like twins in reverse. But it isn't necessarily just two. Just like twinning can be multiple. You can combine more than two. It's harder, obviously. You can end up with some weird stuff when it doesn't fuse completely. Yeah, basically, I was very hungry. And I needed a snack. And that's been the story of my life ever since. Ooh, garlic bread. They've got their mother's eyes. Give them back. Oh my. I like to think it's a decent hypothesis, but I may be incorrect. Who knows? Carrie Ann says, I'm pretty sure we are all intersex. For certain values of intersex, it seems the more we look at things, the more we discover everything is a spectrum. Which is why I brought that up in the Jesus part of today's program. So yeah, there's Evolution's Rainbow. Like I said, Pragmatic has all the links. Mark says, I'd offer to volunteer, but I don't really know where on the spectrum I fall. I see myself more as androgynous or gender fluid. That's perfectly fine. The initial study, assuming I do get to do it, it's just to establish the principle. That's why I'm just doing 10 and 10. That seems like the minimum viable model. I'm hoping the results will open the door to funding to do a much wider study. And then it'll matter a lot less, where a person identifies. But first, one thing at a time. So it's all good. Yeah, and Robin sent me that book as well. It's very cool too. Dr. Ben says you should partner with a university professor and get federal grant money. I should, if only I could find one who wanted to, work on this. It'd be a neat trick. But yeah, you're not wrong. Johnny says, I'm Ember. This is my sibling Ember and my other sibling Ember. Kind of like, shoot, I wonder if I can find it here. I have so many tabs open, but I bet I can get to it. I have, what would it be under? Would it be under channel parts, vid elements? I have too many bloody folders. But until very recently, most of my what do you call it? Cover images, the image that stretches across the back of your channel or page or what have you. In fact, some pages may still have it because it's been a minute since I updated it. But I had the second most recent one was of many me's, like this. Immediately pre-transition. I mean, I'd already decided to transition, but I hadn't done anything yet. I hadn't. Obviously I hadn't even started HRT, but I hadn't even shaved yet, so it was pre-transition Ember, and then various points along. I couldn't quite pull off one a month. I am trying to take regular photos to document the transition, but I couldn't quite get a nice photo every month. Dysphoria is a bitch, folks. I'm so glad that I'm feeling better about how I look. I had a really nice time. Oh, thank you, Delicious Danish. I appreciate that very much. I am feeling better about how I look, but it is still nice to hear yesterday at work, I was all bundled up and nobody could see like anything but my face. I had a scarf on. I was actually wearing this hat and like the scarf up to here and a big bulky coat, and I still got ma'am everywhere I went. People were like, "Oh, ma'am, how are you? What can I do for you?" And I'm like, HRT is magic. Fuck yes. So yeah, I considered Jay. He just got his job at his new university. I don't know if he has the connections or anything like that. I may have even actually already asked him about it, but yeah, it's a possibility. Velchin Apologetics says, I thought you were supposed to be proving you believe in Christianity. Well, not exactly. I was proving the truth of Jesus, and we already did that. We're done. In fact, we're all Christian now, or at least we're Christian in the way Jesus was. Of course, Jesus was a Jew, but details. We're not Christian in the we want to control people's lives, tell them how to live, and we have an invisible friend whom we know and talk to, and he hates shellfish. We're not that flavor Christian. We're the, doing the things that a good God might want kind of non-worshipping flavor of person. So yeah, there's that. Why are my folders bloody? Why are my folders bloody? Which folders? I'm so far behind. Oh goodness. Why are the yellow pick is the second favorite after the steampunk one? I have no idea what we're talking about. It's fine. It's fine. Claire, hello. Happy holiday all. You look great, Ember. Thank you so much, Claire. Claire is another person whom I met because of these streams, these relay races where members of the community we've never seen before. Bloop, there they are doing a show. So yeah, these are wonderful resources for the whole community. I'm so glad you all are here. I love doing live shows, interacting with you folks, and it's just wonderful. But also, the whole mega stream that Purple went and put together, it helps us meet new friends, and that is amazing. Maya says, feeling weird about how you look is normal for a woman. It's true. I yes. that has been made clear to me. Which makes sense because I've always felt that way. It's an oof. Jester says, dear YouTube, you can open a link and keep playing the video if you open a picture in picture mode. Do better. Sincerely, a better than Ember subby. Open a link and keep playing. Oh, I see what you did. You clicked on a link and it like stopped YouTube and you went over and did something. Okay. Yeah, I get it. That's rough. I believe that's one of the premium subscription options benefits, something dark side, something complete. I don't know. Mark says, glad I skipped that part. I'm still pagan. That's right. I mean, in a way, I kept mentioning your bloody folders. Oh, the folders in yes. In my Google Drive, I have many folders, or possibly I meant the folders on my computer, whatever. So when I was a little kid, I went to the Renaissance Fair every summer. I spent as much time there as I possibly could. And it was great for a number of reasons. I made a whole bunch of friends. I gathered a greater appreciation for magic, how wonderful people can be, for Shakespeare, a bunch of different things. But I also picked up a bit of the lingo, and sometimes it slips out. I occasionally do a little Elizabethan slip, and unfortunately, it bugs me that Jordan Peterson has made bloody the cuss word of choice because he's Canadian, but also because now when I say bloody, it evokes images of Jordan Peterson rather than, ages gone by European crazy people. Speedy Roman says, hey, Ember, I started watching you when you were on Aaron Ross shows. Well, thank you, Speedy. Yeah, that was the thing I used to do. And I'm glad some of the people who met me over there came over here and enjoyed what we're doing and stuck around. I think that was how Eric wandered over here, as a matter of fact, who is one of the longest members. I'm not sure who is the longest, but Eric Wander is definitely up there. So yeah, Rochelle is here. Says, happy holidays to you, Ember. You look gorgeous. I can say that here. You can say that anywhere, Rochelle. You can do whatever the hell you want. But I appreciate it very much. I actually put in effort today. I did like the whole process. I used real foundation. Normally when I'm going to work, I use SPF 100 sunblock as a foundation because since I'm going through laser hair removal, I have to have sunblock on under everything. So I just use that as my foundation. But when I'm doing a normal show, I use this spray foundation or spray primer. And then I wipe it around and it does good. It does pretty good, especially considering the quality of my camera. It does fine. But today I used like actual spray on a sponge and spread around, and it makes your skin ultra smooth, proper primer. And I went through all the steps. I even got out. I don't know if there's another. Yeah, here. Okay, I'm slightly bigger. I don't know if you can see, but I used the shiny eyeliner stuff. Yeah. I just I wanted to like go all out for this show, especially since my show on the second channel is going to be at 4 a.m. I am probably not going to look as put together. I'm going to be like, hi folks, I just woke up. I need coffee. Something like that. Binders full of, no, I don't have binders of, well, I mean, since I'm in them, technically, yes. Also, I did do a lot of boudoir photography a couple of years ago, but you know, same thing. As long as you don't say bloody in a Kermit dialect. Oh no, oh no. Ah, Monty Python. Mark says, not for me. Bloody invokes images of Monty Python. And that's fair. And this is where I lament the death of my control board. Again, as many of you know, I've had so many difficulties this year. It's not even fucking funny. But one of the things that happened is my computer died. I did manage to get it resurrected. Oh, not in 3 days. I don't have that kind of power. But I lost everything, all my software, all my programming, all my custom stuff. And I have not had time because I'm working 5 flipping jobs to rebuild everything. So I no longer have my Monty Python jump out at you clips and things. But we do what we can. Triceratops says you should just click harder, says sunscreen is your friend. And it's true. When I go out into the sun, I am absolutely using sunscreen because the sun is a deadly laser. Rochelle says we don't allow objectifying the hosts in chat on that other show. That seems wise. Yes. I understand that's true for a lot of other channels, although there's only one other channel that I'm, regularly on where that might happen. But yeah. That's a good point. Robin says you look awesome, Ember. Thank you, Robin. Karen Ann says, sweet. Oh, Ember, do you like true crime reviews with a cool chick applying makeup? I would be interested in taking a look at that. Oh, I remember the other thing. The other thing was we can use this time we have right now to go look at some of the other channels that I'm like last year. In fact, New Year's Eve was the last time I did it. I did these series of videos, Skeptic Space, where I would show off channels that other people in the community might not be aware of. And it helped build the community. It helped spread awareness. And I like to think it helped make the community that we have today because it helped encourage more people and build up more audiences and so forth. So maybe we could do some. I don't think we have time to do all of them because there's over 100 on my list now, but maybe we could do some of them and that could be pretty neat. Let's see. Triceratops says, something I didn't realize before I started doing gender affirming makeup is that makeup will get on your glasses. Yeah. It'll get everywhere. It'll get on everything. It'll just yeah. Tsumami says, you mean mascara? You have to wait till it dries before putting glasses back on. Oh, yeah. I haven't used mascara in months because I mean my eyelashes are pretty fucking banger as normally. But yeah, I had that happen a few times. I put mascara on and then I put my sunglasses on and shimmer all over the inside of the sunglasses. And I'm like, oh no, oh no. It's rough. It's yeah. Maya says 4 a.m. is still a thing. I thought they stopped making that after high school. In the dark web, you can still find it. You have to look. You have to dig around, but it's around there. Tsumami has some. Tsumami wakes up around 4 a.m. That's why she's dying by like 10 a.m. And that's fair. In high school, as a general rule, I didn't get up before noon. I would be, at school and going from class to class, but I was not awake until noon. I mean, that's what happens when you have to stay up all night doing homework. It's rough. Pragmatic with the link to my second channel, Book of Embers Christmas stream. That's right. Mark says, I fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of elderberries. Now that is a deadly, deadly insult. Nice shirt banned? What now? What did I miss? What happened? Oh, Jeebus, I have too many windows open. I don't know what's happening now. Where did you do? I don't. Oh, okay. I hope nobody got banned. We're supposed to be having a holly jolly time. I'm sure it's fine. Bailey Sarian. Okay. Let's have a look while we're at it. Where'd I put my thing? You know what? I need to go. I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna copy the name. Bailey Sarian, because I'm not gonna try to spell it because I'm gonna fuck it up if I try to spell it while I'm distracted doing things. Okay, share this tab and add to stage. Okay, what do we got here? Bailey Sarian.
Hi, friends. How are you today? My name is Bailey Sarian, and today is Monday, which means it's Murder, Mystery, and Makeup Monday. Hi. If you're new here, hi, my name is Bailey. How's it going? And on Mondays, I sit down and I talk about true crime story that's been heavy on my noggin, and I do my makeup at the same time just to keep my hands busy, If you're interested in true crime and
okay, that sounds neat. That's a really long channel trailer video. It's like 33 minutes. But yeah, that seems pretty cool. So yeah, there's that. I'm gonna hit the little button. And if you're interested in that kind of thing, I mean, obviously the makeup part of it that's visual. I'll put a link for it down here too. So yeah, good stuff. Good suggestion, Carrie Ann. Thank you. Okay. Dark history. Yes, I love dark history. If you do podcasts, you're probably familiar with Aaron Mahnke's Lore, but he also does a bunch of other shows. There's a show he produces hosted by a different person called American Shadows. He does little mini episodes called Cabinet of Curiosity. He does like really long episodes on a specific thing. There's a bunch of different ones. It's really neat. And I love doing like nighttime photography, astrophotography, while listening to spooky dark history podcasts. Fucking amazing. Absolutely. Tilting Windmill says, and I go to bed at 4 a.m. That's fair. That's fair. Let's see. Triceratops says, I went to bed at 3 a.m. in middle school. Then I realized I liked sleeping at night. I'm kind of the other way. I mean, I have to get up early for work because capitalism, but I much prefer to be awake at night when it's quieter, when there's less hustle and bustle, when there's more peace, when you can see the stars. I mean, don't get me wrong, daytime is fine and all, but night is so much better. I don't know. For driving reasons too. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like to drive at night because of the stupidly bright lighthouse headlights cars have these days. But if you can stand those, if you can wear your sunglasses at night, blind spots vanish because every single vehicle tells on their exact location because of their headlights. If somebody's in your blind spot, you can still see them from their headlights. And so I dig that too. So yeah, the dark history of eunuchs is killer. Oh my, oh my. Mindfulness Journey says, I start work at 6:30 a.m. I'm used to waking up stupid early. That's fair. That's fair. Crime isn't fun though. I mean, it depends on whether you get caught or not and what you're doing, if you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. Yeah. Let's see. I'm sorry I cannot stand that woman. Well, I mean, it's a matter of taste. It's a matter of opinion. I mean, I don't even know that person, but I'm willing to give her a shot. We will see. Maybe I'll do a book report on her channel later. What could possibly go wrong with a 1 point something K channel doing a review on a channel with 7 million subscribers? I'm sure it's fine. What could possibly go wrong? Johnny says Trump supporters started wearing Band-Aids on their ears in solidarity. They were wearing maxi pads on their ears in solidarity, but never mind. Would they castrate themselves if they found out he's a eunuch? I mean, it's worth a try. Jay says, I'm with Windmill, trying to get to bed at 6 a.m. Yeah, safer at night, too. Absolutely. Pragmatic with another suggestion, a trans makeup artist. I love her. I love her. I love her. Let me see if I can find the link. The link. Here it is. Okay, and let's share this tab.
Not disbanding.
I don't know.
Wait, say no, we're not disbanding. Hello, guys, it's me, Nikki. Hello, and I am joined by sensation of the boy band world, Luke Hemmings.
Hi.
People have been begging for you to be on my channel. I don't know if you've noticed.
I have.
I've been thirst trapping in my tweets years ago. I was like, hello, Luke. Hello, I'm here. You're here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No,
I'm a
thank
fan.
you for being here. What?
I'm a fan.
Stop.
Okay, so this is, I gather it's less of like a channel trailer kind of thing and like just a sample look at this awesome thing video. Maybe I should do that. I guess one's in the chat if you think I should change my channel trailer to like just a sample video. But yeah, that looks pretty neat. 15 years of the truth of 15 years on YouTube. Yes, there we go. That's a lot of years. And that was a year ago. My goodness. Her channel is old enough to be a child who can almost vote. That's wild. All right, I'll subscribe to her so I can come back and visit her later too. Let's see. Claire says, I routinely retire around 6 a.m. My time zones are upside down. True night owl. That's fair. Yeah, for sure. Triceratops says, my body does not approve of me not getting sunlight. And that's fair. We humans, well, you're a Triceratops, but, you know, for many of us, we do require sunlight to make the vitamin D's and things. Claire says, I am a true crime addict, not committing crimes, though. Yes. Minor details. It's a slight distinction, you know. Carrie Ann says there's been studies leaning towards us having genetic markers on a spectrum as to being day or night people. I haven't seen anything along those lines, but it does sound plausible. It's definitely a thing. Johnny says Trump's a sassy queen. I'm not going to click on that link because I have a hunch that'll get me demonetized, but I'm going to leave it there in case any of you want to, because it might be funny. And Eric Wander gifting 50 Emberships. Holy shit. I'm not sure what to do about that. That's really impressive. Where? I'm scrolling. I don't know if I can read all of those. I can give it a try though. Okay. Blaster Master 80, Supercritical Snake, Whimsy, My Unfinished Sock, Sumami, Deviant Outcast, Anarchic Fox, Unapologetically Christy, Marty Camejo, Tenebrasint, Tinkerphil, Christopher Tablante, Roman Weber, Counter Apologetics with Nara the Atheist. Wow, I haven't seen Nara in a while. Cool. Wim VDB, Soul Watcher Paranormal, Uncle Charlie, Cosmic Kyle, Gazalem Ale, Fern Lovebond, Michael Bell, Matt Deeg, Raz Putis, Threatened Sanity, S. Cook, Tyler West, Angela, Canadian Ollieman. See, I said it right this time, Ollie. Aragorn 66, Raul Hernandez, Higgins Tom, Magus Mork, Leo Filius, Jason Unpasteurized, Paul D, JEM, Day and Darklight, The Transpositions, Titan Uranus, Carrie Ann Chrysler, Pragmatic Crystal, Johnny, Annoying Newsletters, Introvert Ancom, Maya Adkisson, B.S. Lewis, Fro from Norway, Milwaukee Atheist, Stephanie Helms, Jason T, Action Squad, Matthew Unterslach. That might be everybody. That might be everybody. Okay, fantastic. Congratulations, everyone. Do enjoy the many custom emojis. All the there's a shit ton of other perks. There's a boatload of exclusive content that's members only. A lot of stuff that I didn't really want to have public anymore because it was like pre-transition and shit, but I wanted to be available for people to see and reference. So some stuff is members only. So yeah, that's where that is. Eric, thank you so much. That's freaking huge, and I appreciate it very, very muchly. And now we have, people can make all kinds of fun. Shoot, I have to update my. Have you noticed that even though, okay, first of all, channel members get to vote on new emojis. So when a new emoji slot opens up, members get to vote. So there's that. We also occasionally do a members only stream. That's another thing to keep in mind. But have you noticed that while we voted on, for some reason, y'all wanted my eyeballs as an emoji, the yay, the no, and the facepalm are all like pre-transition Ember? Like, I should probably update those. Well. Details. We'll get to it. Oh my goodness. Delicious Danish says, my boyfriend, Amiga Nuts, lives in the States, so I have 2 time zones to keep track of. That's harsh. Although hopefully, you may be able to resolve that situation fairly soon. Because, I mean, I don't know what your boyfriend's alignment and situation is, but a lot of us are probably going to have to leave the US in 28 days after what happens on the 27th day. Triceratops says, that is a truly ridiculous number of memberships, and it absolutely is. It is the maximum possible number of memberships you can gift at a time. I actually wasn't even sure that would go through because I've seen large groups of memberships on other channels go like 10 or 12 and then stall out. And it happens. I mean, it seems to happen to Maya more often because Maya has a very, very high membership to viewership ratio. And, that's fantastic for Maya, but it means that there's not that many people watching who aren't already members. So gift memberships just kind of bounce off, Oh, goodness. Kyle, hello. Presents. Yes, Emberships. Presents for everybody. Merry Christmas. Eric's dropping presents for us up in here. It's a good shit. Kyle is the ultimate night owl. That's true. Kyle's literally up all night staring into the void. That's what Kyle does to produce some amazing astrophotos. I mean, I kind of like the astrophotography work I've done over the years, including this background. Let me show you this background here. Hopefully you could still hear me while I was talking just then. It didn't show my mic was muted. I don't know. In any case, I took that photo and yeah, but I can't do anything like Kyle does. Like the way he gets right up in on the nebulae and the galaxies and shit. It's so cool. It's so freaking cool. So yeah, happy Christmas. Yes, absolutely. I lost my place on my page though. Where did it go? I'm sure I'm close. 50. I don't know what that means, but there it is. Let's see. Jimmy. Mr. Jimmy Tux, bow tie, bless us, everyone. You see what I did there? You see how I yeah, it's like the Dickens thing. It's the Dickens thing, absolutely. 50 with a capital fifth. Well, don't give that monster no tree, Fitty. Do my South Park references. It's fine. It's fine. Hey, Ollie's here. Did you hear me say your name correctly, Ollie? Were you there for that? Oh my. Yeah, I haven't seen Gazalem in a little while. That's it happens. People got shit to do. I often got shit to do. But I do love being here and with y'all and doing the interaction thing. Spending a holiday, having some joy and some camaraderie, and being able to like be myself. Oftentimes the stories we have to cover over on transpositions for the news or the topic, like if I'm reviewing an apologist or something, I have to be in a certain mode for that. But left to my own devices, this is me. This is who I am. I'm bubbly and enthusiastic and thrilled to be with you folks. This is one of my favorite things to do. And I love this community so very much that I do crazy shit like work up a freaking thesis on how to prove Jesus just to tickle you. It's so great. And I do it all the time if I could. I should have jewelry on. I'm bad at my job, but it's fine. It's fine. We're having ourselves a great time. So yeah, I'm so glad y'all are here. I'm so glad Purple put together the stream. I'm so glad that we can enjoy each other's company on a holiday that's a little bit rough for some people. So yeah. Yeah, the yay emoji needs to be updated. It sure does. It sure does. Yeah. Jester says ancient humans needed night watchmen. You didn't use the ability to simply become incorporeal. Very strange of you to just not use that function. It's almost like you don't know how. I feel like I missed something. I thought it was going to go with something about how humans are like biologically inclined to sleep 4 hours, wake up for an hour and like read a book or something and then go back to sleep. I have suspicions on that one. I think it's more for feeding and caring for babies than for keeping watch, because before I had kids, I slept through the night, no problem. Once I had kids, even when they grew out of that period where they need constant attention, I was still popping awake every 3 to 4 hours to go check on the babies. And that persisted for years. But I don't know. It's just a suspicion on my part, So I thought that's where that was going. Yeah. Let's see. Mike says, just change your accent and Trump will provide a free ticket out. I mean, that's a possibility too. I could just cheerio, pip pip. I'm from jolly old London or some. I hate that. I hate that. I'm never doing that again. No, but I could. And then no, it's not that kind of accent that he's deporting, is it? We know. My unfinished journey gifting an additional Embership. There's Emberships all over the place up in here today. And that one went to Alex Markel. So congratulations, Alex. Enjoy all the free fun custom emojis like the Jesus Christ Tada and the tapir, which is a very old inside joke that we'll probably get back to someday. Oh my goodness. Journey, appreciate that very much. That's good shit. Yeah, so 51 today, which means we have at least 52 members. No, it's more than that. There's quite a few of you who've been here for months and months, several who've been members since we first gained the ability to have members in June of 2023. And I appreciate y'all for sticking around. We've gone through some changes. I mean, I've gone through some changes. Although I like to think I'm a better person. I'm definitely a healthier person, and I'm very much a happier person. So I would not change a thing as far as the changes, except possibly changing them to change sooner, if that's not too much change. Getting a little complicated up in here. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. You know, yeah. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Flashing earrings count as jewelry. It's true. So do jingle bells. I'm literally here with bells on. I promised PC, but I love this as a neck. It's technically a thing that you string around your Christmas tree or whatever, but like it's so perfect. So yeah, absolutely. And this actually isn't part of my dress either. It's just a ribbon, and I just put it on. I actually had an idea to make a dress out of ribbons, and I thought that would be really cool, but I did not have time. But since I have this, goodness, I'm hitting my own wall here. I have this wintry snowflakey dress. You know what? I'll just come here. I'm bringing y'all for a little trip so you can see my outfit a little better. Not really very well, but there we go. See, it's actually like snowflakes on a red background. It just it doesn't show very well when you're attached in your normal spot up there. And now I have done and ruined everything. I have broken all the things. Never mind that nonsense behind the curtain. It's just my bedroom. But yeah, we do have some jewelry. We do have a little bit. I was just like, oh, I should have like bracelets and rings, and I should be like maximum shiny because it's like the light up holiday, right? That's what I meant. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I've broken it now. There's all my secret notes. What have I done? I ruined everything. This is why we can't have nice things. Are we good? We're good enough. I can fix it the rest of the way later. As long as you guys don't fall off. I know what I did wrong. I need to put the cord behind the screen. I used to have this on a tripod, but I wanted it slightly higher up and further back so that I could do like news reports and shit, instead of just like being a face. And yeah, y'all understand. Y'all pick up what I'm putting down, I think. Probably. Maybe. Hopefully. I may be about to do that whole manic thing, that bipolar thing where your brain just kind of goes into hyperdrive and you just kind of go off into yeah, it's possible. I could do probably. Well, y'all, some of you are fairly new here, but for my first birthday on YouTube in August of 2023, I ended up doing a 12-hour stream by myself. I mean, I think a couple of people came on at a couple of points, but it was crazy. Yeah, I can do 5 hours without a problem. Deviant, hello. Deviant says, Ember, you look absolutely magnificent. So festive and jolly and sparkly and still the queen of hats, even in a Santa's hat. Tom Toluva. A Tom Toluva. I always thought it was just a sleeping cap that had been like specially colored for, Coca-Cola reasons or something. Because I don't know. Tom Toluva. Okay, I'll take your word for it. But yeah, I'm glad you appreciate. It's I've always liked this kind of hat, even without the Christmas thing. And as I often say, all the hats are underappreciated. I actually have, well, as you know, I have a bunch of hats, but I have a bunch of hats right here. And but this is definitely the one for today. It is the most festive. Let's see. The slightest sound still makes me. It still makes you what, Jedi? What does it make you? Is it my jingle bells? Does it make you feel jolly? Does it make you feel Christmassy? Does it make you feel loved? Because we all deserve to feel loved, my dear, my friend, my... Okay, I'll stop now. Maya says, my kids slept in the bed with me, so I didn't have to wake up as frequently. That's a daring plan. It did not work in my case, but you know, so I mean, if it works, it works. It's worth a try. Carrie Ann says, city or rural, the light pollution would make impacts too. It's true. Light pollution is a dick. They do make filters that'll block out a substantial portion of a city's light pollution. It's a sodium vapor filter, because the majority of streetlights and stuff are on their sodium lights, which means they projected a very certain wavelength range, and you could just block that out and boom, the sky is clear. The problem is we've been shifting over to more LED lights. That's been changing, and so the sodium filters are less and less effective as every year passes, but they'll still block quite a lot. It's worth a try. Let's see. Mine finished sock says, funny that the Journey's sock got the gift. What do you mean about the emoji? Yeah, it happens sometimes. It's random algorithm. It's just, yeah, for sure. Windmill says, I was convinced by the night watchman arguments, but I think Ember arguing for childcare all night makes a lot of sense to me too. I mean, could be both. There's definitely an evolutionary advantage to having people be able to stay up all night, or at least part of the night, to do shifts or something like that. I mean, the military still does that. It's definitely an advantage. But being able to raise the children, to me, is like the more significant thing, the more higher stakes thing. Because, you know, keeping the children alive is how your society continues to progress and evolve and shit. But I mean, could be anything. Could be both. It could happen. Sterling Nash says, your dress is gorgeous. Thank you so much. Oh, that's why everybody's saying cute. Because the dress. Well, hooray. I'm glad y'all like. I wish I could show you more, but I like... When I get to this point, my chairs hit my bed and I'd have to take down my curtain. I will have to take down my curtain at some point because I'm packing things and I may have to flee the country. We'll see. I'm going to try to stick it out, partly because I lost most of my financial resources in the great car catastrophe of just a couple of days ago. But yeah, for the time being, my curtainy wall thing gets to stay up. So yeah, Windmill says that's a really cute ensemble. Thank you. I didn't even know the hat would go with it. I had something else entirely in mind when I planned this, but it works. Hell yeah. I love it. It makes me so happy. Y'all don't even understand. Like, I don't even know how to phrase it. Like, so much of my life, I've been limited in how I can express my interests and my desires and the things I love. And it was okay for me to love art. It was okay for me to love colors, as long as it was like art and photography and that sort of thing. But like clothing, no, that's not. Men wear black suits and white shirts, and maybe you can get a little bit of color on your tie, but that no expression, no differentiation. Fuck that. I don't care if you are a cis man. Wear a fucking pretty dress. They're amazing. Different topic, and we really don't have time because, as you may be aware, this is a relay mega stream. 48 hours around the world twice. And coming up next is Maya Adkison. In just a few minutes, in fact. In just 4 minutes, as of when the thing did the thing in the place with the stuff. Speaking of which, if you're new here, why not hit the subscribe button? It helps. I appreciate it. And it makes the channel go further. This isn't what we normally do here. Although I do enjoy doing this. I do counter-apologetics, debunking, dunking on pseudoscience, all the pseudoscience, flat earth, young earth creationism, moon landing denial, transphobia, all of it. My contention here is that all the conspiracy theories are the same conspiracy theory, and they are all conspiracy theories because they all allege that all of science is hiding something from you, but they, the half-educated dipshits on the internet, have the special knowledge. And if you pay them the low price of $29.99 monthly or whatever the fuck it happens to be, they will share that special knowledge that the science has been hiding with you. And then you'll have the special knowledge too. So yeah, all of them are conspiracy theories, and they're all the same conspiracy theory. And I enjoy showing y'all how. And also, I do debate reviews with my good friend Mark Reed of Mark Reed Atheism. Every Saturday evening, my time, Sunday morning his time, because he's in Australia, we alternate between whose channel we're on. I think this week, I forget whose turn it is. It may be my turn because I think we just did part 2 of our latest one over on Mark's channel. But whatever the case may be, we're on one or the other, and we alternate. So make sure you subscribe to both and join us for those too, because they are often a hell of a lot of fun. Oh, let's see. Eric Wander says that stream was wild. I'm not sure which stream. Maybe this stream. We're not quite done yet though, but possibly the stream at Maya's where memberships were bouncing off. That, I mean, honestly, they're all kind of pretty wild. They've got like a weasel up there or something. I don't know. Jester says, I've always been a night owl. Perchance it is different for women. Men could be night watchers where women are more disposed to waking up for childish reasons. Boo. Yeah, Jedi. I only have a couple of minutes, so I can't delve into a really deep story there, but it's a thing I'm prone to. And I used to have it under very tight control, but because I'm going through second puberty, my hormones are very wildly shifting in all kinds of interesting directions. I don't really have a very strong control over my mood and my neurotransmitter activity and things. My brain is working a hell of a lot better now that it's running on the hormones it was designed for. But you may recall from, previous editions of puberty, you don't always have what you might call emotional stability all the time. So yeah, we do what we can. Holy shit, Pragmatic found a link to my 12-hour birthday stream. You cannot hide anything from this omnipotent mod person, whom, incidentally, has her own channel with some cool shit on it. Check it out. You will not regret it. And also, I know we're just about out of time, but Justin over at Skeptic Spin is having a party for Pragmatic Crystal. Don't tell Pragmatic. That way we can keep it a surprise. But yeah, there's going to be a party there in a few days. So make sure you're subscribed to Skeptic Spin as well to make sure you don't miss that. And I almost, you know what? I'm going to speed scroll. Doodle-doodle-doodle-doodle. Pragmatic says I'm coming together. And Rochelle says PC can outlink me any day. They are. Yes, she is the goat of links. And Mike says after 70, there's a kind of puberty, but it is called poverty. Oh, I already have that. Sadly. But yeah, we made it to the end of the live chat. I see there's more stuff coming up, including a link for Skeptic Spin. So thanks for that, PC. Yeah, the chat just doesn't stop. And that's a wonderful thing. But I'm just gonna peek ahead and see if I'm trying to bring up. Yes, it looks like Maya is live. So I wanted to make sure Maya was actually live before we wrap up. Once again, this stream will take you there automatically, but make sure you're following the playlist because not every channel can automatically forward you. The playlist is linked in the description. I love you folks. Have a happy holiday of your favorite sort and type and whatnot. And I will see you again on channel number 2 at 4 a.m. Eastern time. I'm stalling while I find my outro thing. Here it is. Okay. Good night and Merry Christmas.
Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now.